Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Tech with Briley. Today we'll be testing out the Western Friend website. Make sure we've got our test coverage in good order. We're working incrementally on this project to get our test coverage to around 80 to 90%. There's a big caveat here. Certain part of the code I probably won't be testing. It's this big red blob here. For our content migration scripts, I'll probably be testing a bit more of the reusable functionality, but these are very large, kind of monolithic functions that I'm not sure how to break down into smaller parts. Nonetheless, let's continue. Today we're going to be adding tests in the subscription app here. And I'm not sure if that shows my mouse cursor. It doesn't seem like it shows my mouse cursor. Let's see. Not really. We're at 78% test coverage here in models.py. Everything else we've got really good coverage. Our project is built with Django. And Django encourages you to structure your code around view functions, data models, and templates that render data into forms like JSON or HTML, depending on the needs of the app. On top of Django, we're using the Wagtail CMS. And so we'll define our models here. In this case, we've got a regular Django model for subscription with model fields of various data types. Scrolling down a little bit here, we've defined some panels on that model. And these are Wagtail panels that render the fields and allow you to configure the display of those fields. The Wagtail admin user interface uses these panel definitions to automatically generate an interface, so you don't have to write the markup for that. You just kind of define what fields should render. It figures out the field types, the proper widgets, and renders several templates. In fact, a display template, an editing template with a form, everything. It's very nice. Does all that automatically. So allows you to just focus on your data structure and generates the interface for you. Here's one place where we could improve the test. This is a sort of an interface I've been defining on all of the e-commerce items that can go through our shopping cart, or basically our payment page. I define a common interface to get the cost. Even though we're only aliasing a field here, the interface is the important part. In other e-commerce items, we would be multiplying the price by a quantity, adding shipping, things like that. So this might seem a bit redundant, but it's the important part is that we've abstracted it to a common interface that's shared across components of our website so that people can pay for them, essentially. We can write a small test for this. That's one low-hanging fruit. So let's start there. And we're going to be using GPT a little bit. I don't know if we need it for this test, but let's open our GPT interface in the background here. Okay, so in our Django project, we've got the subscription app, which has several files. We're looking at the app definition here. And we've got our model definitions here, which is what we're looking at also in the Code Cove tool. And our tests are defined in one big file. So let's look for, it looks like we've got a test for subscriber full name covered here. So let's find out where we are testing this. Test subscription, okay. Sort of a big monolithic test. But here this should be test subscription full name, I think. Yeah, so let's just rename that test. There we go. And this is just creating a subscription instance for each of those. And I think we can try using Copilot real quick. If I just add a new line here. S subscription price, get full price, right? Get total cost. Copilot writes some of the code for us, and let's see what it thinks of the test. I've got a new subscription ID. And it's guessing some things, but I think it got them wrong. And I think essentially what we need is just to put a price here. Yeah, it's just an integer field, so let's just say price. Now we're about the price group. All of our subscriptions so far are defined as integer values. We didn't anticipate needing to define those with decimal points. I think if we reorganize this code a bit, we'll use a variable there. Sends is an alias. I don't know, to make it explicit that we're testing for this combination, those at the top of the function. Give myself a little clue there. If the subscription price is 10, we expect the total cost to be 10. All right, so now we're in our virtual environment. Let me make sure real quick we've got our chat open. Good. All right, so we're gonna run Python, manage PI, test, subscription dot test. Subscription test case test. Well, let's just run the whole subscription test case. Why not? Why not? Takes a bit to run these. It's got to run migrations and creating a test database. I'm not sure how I can speed this up or why it's so slow on my computer. In CI, the tests don't take so long with this stage. I think there might be something wrong with my hard drive. It's just been running slow for a long time. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and scroll down. So here's the next cool thing about Wagtail. Not only does it save us some time in writing admin interface code for us, that, or in other words, the markup and the forms are all generated for us. Gives us a nicer admin interface than the Django admin. Okay, so we got a bug either in the code or in the test. We'll take a quick look at that. And the other thing it's going to be doing for us is writing view code for us and URLs. We'll look at how that happens in just a moment when we get to this subscription index page, which inherits from the Wagtail page model. This is another cool thing about Wagtail. So yeah, let's see, the subscription total cost. It's coming back 30. So this is either a bug in our code or a bug in the test. And the test is pretty succinct. So now let's just isolate this test. We'll rerun it. We'll keep the database. And just noting this subscription is created in context here. So the only thing that's shared is the user, which shouldn't affect the subscription price calculation. And literally, at least at the time this test coverage was generated, the get total cost is just an alias of price. I don't know, e-commerce is the right phrase for donation, but nonetheless, it's sort of like one thing I don't need probably to generate the ID internally. Here we go. Test finally. So it fails, same assertion. There we go. I'm not sure if it's just creating, it shouldn't be fetching there. 30 is not equal to 10. This is so strange. Ten and 10, okay. And I suspect if I share this with GPT-4, it's going to be puzzled as well. Let's do it. So basically we have this is why we're writing the test, to make sure that the code is behaving as we expected. I don't have any sort of events that are modifying this subscription. It literally should just be saving that price field. So what we'll do is give GPT some context, not pasting in all of the related libraries. Just the model, the test, and the error, the assertion here. Let's see what it thinks about why it's failing. And GPT has actually been very helpful to guide me through the inner workings of the app and suggesting steps for debugging. So it gives us a surface level analysis, so it understands that the method is returning. It says the error suggests that the subscription get total cost is returning a value of 30 instead of the expected total cost of 10. It's difficult to pinpoint the exact reason without the get total cost method. Oh, I thought I did that. My bad, my bad. and be polite. Especially if they're training the models on our input. Let's train the models on polite input. Ah, shoot. Shift enter. Yeah, there we go. This method simply returns the value of self-price. It does not include any additional costs or calculations. So if get total cost is returning 30, so it remembers the context. When you expect 10, it implies that self-price is 30 at the time a get total cost is called. There are a few possibilities of why this could be happening. There may be some additional code somewhere else in your application that is modifying the price attribute of subscription instance after it is created in your test. I'd love to trace that, but I don't have any events that are running on this. Literally just should be saving it directly to the database. One thing I can do is write a test get subscription create that literally just create a subscription and verify all the values were stored exactly as they were entered. That's what Copilot actually was starting to write, interestingly enough. So let's start with that before we continue, just to make sure that when I create a subscription, nothing's being mutated. For that, let me grab just a little bit more coffee. Be right back. All right, let's continue. So yes, that was sort of my intuition as well. Copilot and GPT-4 here is helping me really think broadly about this issue, about this bug. So let's uncomment. Let's comment out this test, and let's write a test just for what Copilot was suggesting, actually. So let's see if I just put a blank line here, see what Copilot says. Right after the setup method, inside of the subscription test case, test gets subscription get price. All right, so it didn't suggest the same thing. The input and there's some non-determinism with these models. Now I just want to test that subscription create works. This is almost testing the Django internals, but we're making sure that the models don't mutate any of the values. So first, let's just this won't be the full boilerplate. What I'm going to do is create a iterable, like a dictionary or something, that I can use when creating the subscription object, and then iterate over that and test each field corresponding, rather than writing a single assertion for each field like this. That's going to be very verbose and there's a lot of fields in this model. So let's see if we can get a little bit more better result from Copilot by guiding it a bit. So it helps me even write the intention, the prompt. Subscription data is C. Okay, so it figured it out more or less. guess a few of them. Model is open, so let's open the model to the side. If I go full screen here, there we go. Let's bring this models tab over. So these tools in my current understanding of how they work, they are augmenting our capacity, they're accelerating our productivity, but they still need like guidance, and we need guidance. They're providing guidance for me, for example. So to make it easier for my brain to not have to jump around, I'm just going to start with the define them in the order of the model definition. And print should be good there. Price group. Standard. And let me make sure that standard is in there. Let's put that normal. And we'll put the PDF, which is the default here. PDF is not the print. Price. Price is next. Price should be an integer. Then recurring, which is a Boolean. Then start date. No. Yes, that's right. It's a date. End date. It's also a date. Subscriber given name. Yeah, there we go. John and Woolman. Yes. That's good. All right, I'm good. All right. Subscriber given name. Subscriber street family name. Street address. Organization. And that can be Western friend. Subscriber street address comes next. 123 Main Street. Line 2 is correct. Postal code comes next. Yes. Then locality. Portland, interesting. Oregon, okay. Region. And that should be full United States. At least by the default. And we don't have an email, but we have a user. That should be self-user. Then we have paid. Then we have Braintree subscription ID. So those are the order in which they are defined. There we go. So we've got this. Now, just save that. Let's see what Copilot thinks I'm going to do with that. Just put a new line and see what happens. Basically, I'm going to create a subscription with the dictionary, yes. And then I'm going to iterate all over those fields and test each field that the subscription and the field match. There should be no mutation on save, right? And it spreads it. Okay. And then new line, check that the subscription was created with the correct values. Yeah, see, there we go. And that's more efficient than testing each of these explicitly. I don't know if I should write a subtest to give myself a little bit more feedback. We'll copy this just to see if it makes sense. And in our test name here is test subscription create. Oh boy. Yep, keep database. Okay, okay. So I need a cleanup function. Can you do that? This should be running a transaction. This is a bit of the mysterious thing about the Django testing framework is when things are deleted and when they're not, right? I'm probably gonna be able to figure that out and get a better grasp of that. ChatGPT can probably help with that. But the, Zen of Python says explicit is better than implicit. So I should just explicitly delete these and make sure I've got a cleanup function that is also deleting the user, which I think that's what was happening just down there. This teardown was deleting the user, but there was a model of foreign key or an integrity issue where if we delete this user, we'll have some, orphaned subscriptions. So it wouldn't let me do that. So here we delete the subscription, which is a bit verbose. A comment there, but okay. So we should also delete it here. One, 2, 3 Main Street, Portland, Oregon. I wonder if that's a real place. If we hop over Brave Browser while we're waiting. It is. I probably have been there, been by there. I briefly lived in Portland. HCC WebWorks. It's located there. Spelled that correctly. Anyway, test is okay. So that's interesting. There's no... So the model's not being mutated. Unless I really happen to make a lucky guess and the subscription price is computed based on these two fields and it happens to be 10. And I don't think that's the case. Save that. The price is the price. These fields are more for helpers to help us classify the subscription. For example, if we look at the subscription model, there's string, there's subscriber full name, get total cost, and save. Okay. Oh, there is. Okay, of course. Goodness. All right, so that was the problem with the test, and this is why I'm testing it. Now I need to essentially test the subscription price components. Okay, good. So I'm getting to know our code better. This is nice. This is a big project, and you couldn't really expect anybody to keep all of the code and all of the logic and the rules and generally the business domain in their mind. So of course we're going to make easy mistakes, and that's why these unit tests give us more confidence that things are behaving correctly, because they make us slow down, take our time, look at things in the moment, like the correct context, and then write something that's using the code as a form of memory, right? Which is another interesting thing that I believe open source is important, not just for training these large language models as we've seen, but as sort of like a living testament or document of the life and times of various people, organizations such as Western Friend. Kind of like it's a small facet of our presence in the world and how we're trying to affect the world or improve the world, as well as build a viable and sustainable organization. So we need to sell subscriptions in order to generate some revenue to maintain the life of the Western Friend organization. But conversely, Western Friend is offering all of the materials in an archive going back to 1926 that's just publicly available for free. So that's also reflected in the code in some way. All right, so here, let's see. Let's step back for one moment. And what we're going to do is write a test that goes through all the permutations of the subscription price components, tests them individually, so that when I create a subscription with this metadata and those fields from the subscription price components, we'll get the expected value. Yes. All right, so let's import the subscription price components. I think if I just grab it here, for example, price group and magazine format. Okay, so this is a bit tricky. Let's get all the price groups. And this is defined in a helper. In our models.py file, I think it'll be in the choices. So let's go to that field, the choices. Here we go. There we go. And I don't know what comes first, the price group or the magazine format, but and I didn't define those as a subclass here. Now we'll import those. At least, no, they're top level in the module. And just for succinctness, we're gonna alias those. Now, this is really a tricky one. I'll essentially leave this. And I'll give a prompt here. All possible combinations of magazine format and price group. All right. For magazine format and magazine formats. For price group and price groups. Now we're getting the subscription data magazine format. Okay, subscription data price group 0. So the 0 is this. Oops, oh man, I lost it. I should have, let me just do that one more time. Updating so this is static across all tests. Then we get these and we dynamically populate those for all the permutations. We create a subscription instance and create a subtest that okay, now we want to go back over test subscription create. Correct price. So we've got the subscription and essentially now we don't need a subtest. Or maybe. expected price. Alright, so now we'll need to get this magazine format. Price group equals. There we go. And then we just shoot. Choice. Something like that. Oh, or key or value, doesn't matter. And this needs to be updated to use those. And then how does the logic work in the save function? Subscription price components. So that's not in the context. So let's grab that real quick. And then Copilot should know how to work with that. There we go. Magazine. So it's got them backwards, but that's okay. This should be price group choice. And then magazine format choice. It's pretty dense, but getting us there with the help of large language models, which are error prone, just like I'm error prone. You know, it's not a unique thing. I wonder if there's a more concise way of doing this. Anyway. Yoga. In 3 hours. So essentially subscription.price equals expected price. I think that's all that changes. The rest of the fields. Yeah, we're just testing the price here. Okay. This is a pretty heavy one, but this is crucial. Not 100% confident that the code works, but when we run it, then we'll get some more helpful feedback from the interpreter. It tested. It passed. Ha, wow. Okay. It has to be running. Yeah, all right, good. So all of that to test one method, the get total price method, which we're going to actually be able to enable now in a moment. Yeah, so we haven't actually gotten to that. We'll clean up the code, commit this change. It's pretty good. Then we'll work on this test next. Nice. That's the weird thing is the code works. Remove comments that basically describe what the code's doing or duplicate the I mean, the code is self-explanatory here. We're getting a subscription in the back. This one's a bit more dense. I don't know if we need the subtest. There we go, now we get our context. What did we change in our model? This is just doc strings. Alright, there's a bit of formatting or something that happened. Now here we're going to select just the lines. Oh, looks good. Then here we go. Magic mouse. I don't really like it. So wobbly. So let's see, we're using the same blank lines there, and then may need one more blank line. That's correct, and one blank line. We renamed that. Huh. Doesn't seem correct, actually. There we go. Yep. Okay, I've got a better mental model, an understanding of how the code is working, and it's essentially another permutation test. Or no, I'll just bite the bullet. Since I am the expected price, it should be the expected value of get total costs. I could just put it here in another assertion. That just seems like a corner cutting thing. Some corners you just want to cut. But I believe my test should be single responsibility. Test correct price, it should do what it says on the tin. I'm basically going to duplicate this process. I don't need all of this, but the format, whatever the required fields are. The format and price group. All right. Price groups. Let's see what Copilot says. Iterate through all possible combinations of magazine format and price group. That's correct. Dang it. Come on. Tab. Or price group. Price groups. And gets the choice. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized. Yes. These are key value pairs, right? Or tuples, but they could be named tuples for all that matter. But the all right. Naming is a bit tricky, but I hope this is clear. Then we make a subscription with those, and the expected price comes out of the subscription price component, and we're going to run a subtest, and we're going to no QA that. Subtest, message, assert equal. Okay, so it wasn't so bad. When you've got the code written in a large language model companion to help you out, it can basically write duplicate code, but with the slight it has the right context from the function name. That's all that was different here. I didn't give it any other really prompting. Now we're gonna run this. Control L that. Test subscription. I forgot what I called it. Get total cost. Okay, and while it's running, I'll just be right back. Okay, we got an error. Oh, an integrity error. Cannot delete some instances of the model user. So let's see. We forgot to delete the subscription. Let's see if I continue with the... Yeah, there it is. Okay. Continue with the prompt. It knew to delete the subscription also. I had forgotten that. So as we saw in this case, it gave me some partial results, and I needed to step through it a bit more. It stopped here. I needed to get a no QA from that, then went to a new line, and it filled it into there, and then I needed to go to another new line. So that's an interesting thing. Sometimes I'll even just hit another new line and see what it suggests. So now it's suggesting another possible unit test to write, but in this case I don't believe we need that. The recurring is not affecting any price calculation or anything like that. But sometimes you don't want to second guess. Sometimes lean into whatever the output is and see what's there in the resultant test. Nonetheless, let's rerun this. Can't keep the database now. So we didn't get to the view tests today. We did get to the model and added a bonus test for certain. We have the price calculation expected price calculation. Those are good steps forward in my book. It's about lunchtime. I'm going to take a break after this. When we get this run successfully, I believe this will run successfully. Or else we'll have some more information for debugging. But yeah, I think that was the case. We just needed to delete the subscription. So our database, we wouldn't get a database integrity issue. This user is associated with all of those subscriptions, and they just need to be deleted. Somehow, there's a number, like 30 subscriptions in the database already. Let me make sure we're deleting them here. Yeah. And the total cost deletes. Yep. And the full name deletes. Huh. We're deleting everywhere. Let me get rid of that. And maybe we're not deleting here. These were some harder, these were more difficult tests to write. Good, we got a successful test. Let's go ahead and commit, push those changes. And we'll watch our CI run one more time. Cancel that, oh no. What didn't I say? Oh, right, the little comment there. That didn't fundamentally change the test result. I didn't push that just to be on the safe side while we're running the test. I mean, just so I'll get a result back. And while the test is running locally, we'll hop over to GitHub. We'll check our code coverage based on this pull request, which actually is not on GitHub yet. I don't have an issue here, so we'll just create the pull request. It's basically improving the test coverage in our subscription app. Since I'm not working on a team, I'm not so worried about issue counts and churn in the project or anything like that. This wasn't the views, this was price tests. Great, that triggers our continuous integration pipeline. Will run and give us a report back once this job completes. And we'll check our terminal real quick. It's still running. So yeah, GPT helped here to just kind of give me more certainty that the price shouldn't be mutated, and it turned out I needed to look more closely into the code, and on save we were in fact mutating the price. It's a calculated price based on the values of the the given the format and price group fields. I was just thinking that a more explicit way here, and the price editable could have been a cue to me. Instead of overriding the onSave method, there's probably a way of defaulting this to a function, a callable. So let's take this one step further, actually, and asks for some help from GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT, actually. State where I believe to use a callable that computes the subscription price at the time the model is saved. You can define a method within your model and then use Django's @property decorator. However, please note that this wouldn't actually save the computed value to the database as the model field. You can now access the computed price property on any subscription instance like so. If you do not want to I don't want a computed property. I wanted to save it in the database, I think. I don't know. Price could just be a property. I mean, it is a property. In other words, a property I don't save in the database in general. I could just convert it to a property and just call it price. One way. If I do want to save it in the database, at the time the model instance is created or updated, the save method is the most appropriate place to do it. However, if you want to avoid overriding the save method, you could instead handle this logic elsewhere in your code base. For instance, when you're calling or creating. Okay, so I don't want some kind of floating event handler. No. Okay. But that does raise an interesting point that ostensibly price could just be a property, right? Defined as with the property decorator, a function that behaves as a property. All right. Wagtail would be fine with that. Well, I like it. I'll leave it as it is for right now. I'll think about that more. Since it is literally a computed field. It's just when the computation happens is the question. Should it happen only on save and update? Or should it happen every time I'm working with a model instance? What would be the overhead? That's a small overhead. And would it possibly introduce other bugs or unexpected behaviors? If it's behaving just like a model property, it shouldn't really matter. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. It's a bit risky and out of scope, I think, for this pull request. Hey, we got some feedback from our continuous integration pipeline. This is a complicated function. Yeah, test functions can be I think, complicated because they're doing a lot. Here we go. This is what I'm after. Patch coverage has no change, but the project coverage increased overall by a minuscule amount. We're only testing one line of code, basically. Let's take a look at the coverage result. We want to make sure our get total cost is green now. This line should be green. Okay. Cost. Indirect changes, here we are. Subscription models. Subscription. Here it is, subscription. Go past the fields, past the panels, to the model methods. Here we are. Green. Yeah, and in our next adventure, we will be delving into these, what are essentially Django views that are wrapped into Wagtail page models. The Wagtail page model unifies, in a way, the data model, the administration interface by virtue of these panel definitions, and the view and URL routing. It's one big thing. It's pretty cool, saves a lot of development time, and provides a nice developer experience. Okay, this has been another episode of Tech with Briley. Thanks for checking us out on Twitch and YouTube. I hope you're doing well, and have a great day.